Good morning, y'all. Everybody in my household is asleep, and I'm in here making breakfast for everybody. So I'm making sausage, boiled eggs, grits, and toast with butter. So nobody knows I'm making breakfast. Everybody's asleep. Yeah, I don't make breakfast every morning. Honestly, I hate cooking. Even if it's something simple as, grits. I don't like cooking. I think it's because when me and my husband first moved out on our own, I was 21, he was 22. When we first moved out on our own, I used to cook every single day. Even once we bought our first home, I cooked every day. Breakfast, I made lunch. Lunch would consist of, well, he wasn't home for lunch, he was at work. But lunch would consist of maybe like tuna fish with lettuce and tomatoes on toast with lemonade and a pickle on the side. Or, I would make peanut butter and jelly for the kids, or, bologna and cheese or something like that. But I would get up in the mornings and I would make breakfast for my husband every single morning. And then I would make dinner. So the kids would have their little afternoon snack when they came home from school, the peanut butter and jelly, bologna and cheese, what I just mentioned. But I did this every single day for years. And on the weekends, that was a treat for my husband because I made breakfast, then I made him lunch and dinner. So on the weekends, he got all three courses, But I did it for so many years. I just got tired of it. Not to mention the fact that every week I would make a cake. I would make a cake on Mondays, and it would last throughout the week. And then on Sunday, I would make another cake. So, I always had this thing. When I was little, I went to go see my great-grandmother. My grandmother took me to visit my great-grandmother, and she lived in Baltimore, Maryland. And when we got there, she had some strawberry cake on the table in the kitchen. And, one day while I was there, she was cutting me a slice of cake, and she said to me, always remember, when you get to be a grown woman and have your own place, always make sure that there's some cake or cookies or some kind of dessert on the table every week, so that if you have company, you can offer your company a piece of cake with some coffee or some tea. She said, it's hospitality. She said, anytime you have company, you're supposed to always have some kind of dessert to offer them. She said, it's just good manners. And I always remembered that. I don't know how old I was. I had to be maybe about, honestly, I had to be about 8 years old. But I remember that. I remember her saying that to me. To always have some type of dessert on the table to offer your guests. Even, if people come over to your house for dinner, after they eat dinner, you want to offer them some dessert, afterwards, a piece of cake, some cookies, a piece of pie, something, some ice cream. And it stayed with me. So look, y'all, cake. So y'all see, I wasn't lying when I said it stayed with me. So I used to make a cake every single week. From Monday, I would make a cake. It would last the rest of the week. And then when Sunday came, I would make another cake. I made cakes so much that the neighbors used to come. Once I got my house, the neighbors used to come and ask me to make them a cake. So I used to make cake for the neighborhood. And I got tired of doing that because, nobody was paying me. I was just being a good neighbor, and I started making, first I would make a cake for my home, and then I would, give a piece to the neighbors, not everybody in the neighborhood, just certain neighbors that, me and my husband wound up being friends with. I would make cake, and I would send slices of cake to the neighbors or whatever. And then it got to the point where they wanted me to make them whole cakes, and I would do that. But I got tired of doing that because I was doing it for free. Nobody ever offered me any money. Nobody, they used to just come and say thank you. And I was buying the stuff myself. They wasn't even giving me money. It was like, could you make me a cake? But, me being nice, I would just make the cake and I would give it to them. But they got so used to me doing that nobody even bothered to offer me anything to make it. So I felt like, I was being taken advantage of. So I stopped. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore because, it doesn't cost much to make a cake because I wasn't making it from scratch. I was buying the Duncan Hines, stuff like that. But I was putting my own little spin to it when I made it, And, but you get tired of people taking advantage of you. You start realizing that, people take your kindness for weakness, and they assumed that I was going to continue to keep doing that. And I had to let them know, no, I'm not. I'm not going to keep making cakes for people that don't appreciate anything. Now, I'm not saying they had to give me money all the time, but every now and then offer me, here, here's $10 just to say thank you or something like that, because I was doing this for free for a while. And I got tired of it. So I think that's what did it. And then for so many years, me making breakfast, and then the lunch for the kids, and then dinner. There was dinner on the table every night. We wasn't doing pizza. We wasn't doing Chinese food. I was cooking every single night. And I really got tired of it. So now, so many years have passed, and I just got fed up. So I don't cook every night. I don't cook breakfast every morning. And my husband completely understands. He said, babe, just go to sleep. Don't worry about me. I can get something on the way to work. But sometimes I feel bad, like this morning. Because I know my husband, he'll get up and he'll go buy him, something from McDonald's or Wendy's. But I feel bad because he shouldn't have to be buying fast food in the morning, He should have a good breakfast before he goes to work. So that's why I'm doing this. And I make my grits real creamy, so I use heavy cream in my grits when I'm making them. I like it creamy. And this is how my family likes it. They like it nice and creamy. How do y'all eat your grits? I know I've heard of it's a woman that I follow on YouTube. Her name is Janine. She's a content creator, and she uses she eats her grits. Her and her kids, they eat their grits with sugar. I never heard of that, but she's the first person I ever heard say they eat their grits with sugar. I mean, why not just, you might as well just have cream of wheat if that's the case. If you're going to eat it with sugar, you might as well just eat cream of wheat. So, anyway. So my family, my husband, he has, in his grits, he likes cheese and pepper in his grits. Well, honestly, everybody in my household eats their grits with cheese. But my husband, he likes a lot of pepper in his grits. And he doesn't eat scrambled eggs, poached eggs, sunny side up, fried. He only eats boiled eggs. And he only eats one. He don't like it enough to have two of them. He eats one egg, one boiled egg. And when I tell you he loves grits, he can eat grits every single morning, every single day. Every single month, every single year, he can eat grits. And making them some toast also. Okay. I don't want the toast to be too dark. I'm gonna have to use a different kind of cheese because they done ate up all the cheese. I usually use Kraft slices to put on the grits, but they done ate all the cheese up, so I'm gonna have to use mild cheese. I hope my husband don't mind. And I'm always the last person to eat in this house. I make everybody plates. I feed everybody first. And I'm always the last one to eat. Usually by the time I'm ready to eat, everybody else is finished. I don't get to sit down and eat with everybody because they start going at their food the minute I hand them their plates. And so when I get ready to come in here and sit down to eat, everybody's finished. So I literally don't get to eat with anybody. Let me see. Ouch, that's hot. anyway. Come on, get off. So I'm gonna clean the frying pan because I don't like to have dishes left over. The only pot that will be left will be the pot with the grits, and that's because there's still grits in there, and I know somebody's gonna want some more. So I always make too much anyway. I'm gonna peel these eggs and put butter on this toast. Y'all hear how loud that siren is? I'm gonna let this soak for a little bit. Mm-mm. Okay, where's the cheese? I need the cheese. I just had it. I'll be right back, y'all. Let me get a fork. right, y'all. It's his food. Let's see. I think he wants a spoon. All right, y'all. I'll be back. All right, y'all. I'm gonna make my food and I'm gonna clean the kitchen and relax. All right, peace.